Hello, my friends. Happy Wednesday to all of you. I hope you are having a great Wednesday. In some parts of the world, today's a holiday. So if you were at home just relaxing, I hope that you were having a great time. And of course, that all of you were practicing English. That's the number one rule. Practice makes perfect. And the more you practice, the more you interact with the language, in this case, English, the easier is going to be for each one of you to remember expressions, to remember vocabulary, to get familiarized with pronunciation, to be able to use grammar structures in a better way. Because, and I know we have talked about this uh, in the past in my Instagram posts. The most important thing is not to learn a language. The most important thing is to acquire the language. Two very different things, two very differing approaches at the time of becoming fluent in a second language. In this case, of course, is English. And when you are when you are acquiring the language, what linguists call the language acquisition process, you are not focused in the rules. When you're focused in the rules, you're learning the language. Like, okay, let's talk about present continuous. Let's talk about present simple. Let's talk about present, I don't know, present perfect. And we talk about the auxiliary verbs, different conjugations and stuff. In that case, you're learning the language. But when you acquire the language is when you see an input, when you hear or when you read something in which present simple, present perfect, and present continuous is there. That's a different situation. That is a very different situation. And all of you, if you want to become fluent, if you want to master the English language, you need to focus on acquiring the language, practicing in that way. The way that we have been doing now for 3 weeks, my friends. This is our third week. We have had some really good sessions. And I sent you a poll, I believe it was yesterday, in my Instagram page for you to choose, like, what level are we going to practice today. And most of you selected intermediate. So here we are in another intermediate lesson. And don't worry if you selected beginner. Maybe next week I'm going to say, you know what? Let's give it a shot for the beginners, because even though if you consider yourself, or if you have taken a placement test and you said, hey, you know what? My level is intermediate, my level is advanced. You can also make the most out of a beginner's lesson. Of course, you can practice a lot with a beginner's lesson. Let's just start with that expression. Let me write it down in the chats. So uh, I had a misspell. I'm sorry. It's to make the most out of. That is that is the expression, and you can say to make the most out of something. And when you make the most out of something is when you experience that at the fullest. Like if you want to go to a music festival and you want to see your favorite bands, you want to try the food, you want to have a great time with your friends, in that case you are making the most out of the festival. You see, don't get confused with take advantage. Don't get confused with take advantage, because when you take advantage of something, it's like something bad. Repeat after me: take advantage of. Or you can take advantage of people too. Like, hey, if you are. Let's suppose that you are a bad boss. You're a really bad boss, and you want your workers to work long hours, not 8 hours, but let's suppose 10 hours a day. That is a bad boss. Like if you're a boss who make people work 10 hours, you suck. You are terrible. You suck. So in that context, in that situation, if you do that to your employees, to your workers, you're taking advantage of them. All right? Because if you translate them into Spanish, you can find very similar meanings. Make the most out of something is aprovechar. Take advantage is aprovechar. But again, take advantage is negative. So don't take advantage of anyone. No, 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 no. Make the most out of an experience. Like in this class, you gotta make the most out of this class. All right, my friends? So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. I'm gonna show you my screen, my second screen. Where is that? Okay, there you go. You squeeze them, yeah. Jamerli. If you do that to your employees, you're squeezing them, and that's not good. You're taking advantage of them, and you don't want to take advantage of anybody in your life. That is something bad. That is something absolutely bad. Okay, my friend. So you know that we are live in Instagram, we are live in YouTube. You can watch this video in YouTube later. If you want to review everything that we do here, you can do it many times as you want. Make sure you're subscribed in my YouTube channel because I'm going to be posting more videos. I'm going to give you more tips. I'm going to give you more and more and more so you can make the most out of your language acquisition process. Okay? Without further ado, we explained that expression in the first class. Without further ado, let's start. Let's start. You know the drill, my friends. You know what is the approach that we follow here. I show you this input. I'm going to show you this very interesting and intermediate text. I'm going to read a section of it, then I'm going to pause, and then you will repeat that little section that I just read. After that, I'm going to break down some interesting aspects of what we're reading. Maybe it will be related to pronunciation, or maybe it will be related to grammar, or it could be related to, vocabulary. So this is how you practice, how you really practice English. It's not by reading long lists of words. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You need to put that into some useful thing. All right. So without further ado, let's start. Let's start. Here we go. When bad luck becomes good luck. Your turn. You've had a lot of bad luck in the past. A bad accident and some frightening health problems. All right, so let's break down some stuff here. You know the verb become right here is on with s because it's in present simple. It's like the general truth, and you're talking about luck, right? It's a thing. It's something that you cannot touch. You cannot touch the luck. You cannot show me the luck. It's something there, very abstract thing. So you can replace this word with it. That is why you gotta use the S. You don't say bad when bad luck become. You gotta say when bad luck becomes. And remember, become is like to transform, to turn into. That is a very interesting phrasal verb. Remember that you need to learn a good number of phrasal verbs because they are used when you're talking, and you will hear the native speakers using those verbs. In this case, to turn into is the same as to become or to transform. You can change that and this meaning will stay the same. Like when bad luck turns into good luck, and the meaning is still the same. Now, in this section right here, this is very interesting. This is present perfect, something that we talked about in our second lesson. You've had a lot of bad luck in the past. In this case, you're talking about a past action, but what's important is the action. You're not talking about when did that happen. Like, let's analyze the sentence again. You've had a lot of bad luck in the past. At what part in the past? I don't care. It's not important. But the important thing is that you, or in this case, me, for the text, that I have had a lot of bad luck in the past, like bad experiences. In Spanish, you need to interpret this like tú has tenido. Okay, this is have. But remember, when you are in an informal context, like a conversation, you're going to use a lot of contractions. That's what's expected. That's what is natural. You are expected to use contractions or to hear a lot of contractions in a normal conversation, like and be careful with the pronunciation. Let's do it again. Same line. You've had a lot of bad luck in the past. All right, I like that. Your pronunciation, my friends, is terrific. I want to tell you, your pronunciation is right on the spot. I can tell you have been practicing. So good for you, my friends. Really good for you. Okay, let's move on. A bad accident and some frightening health problems. Your turn. There you go. There you go. This is a very interesting word because it's frightening. One more time. Repeat after me. Frightening. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Remember, you don't have to worry about the spelling. The spelling sometimes is tricky in English, but what's important here is to prioritize the sounds. The sounds must be your number one priority if you want to communicate well, if you want to talk in the right way. In this case, uh, frightening. You got it. You got it. And something frightening is something scary. Something very scary is something frightening. Remember, my friends, it's a great strategy to learn synonyms, to learn those similar words in the language. In this case, you can have scary, like it was a very scary experience what happened in that trip. Or it was a very frightening experience what happened in that trip. Two for the price of one for all of you. All right, let's continue. Does that keep you from doing things in the future that involve luck, like buying a lottery ticket? Go ahead. All right, now you have here a question again in the present simple, like the general truth, the things that usually keep on happening. So that's that keep you, like you're not going to do that. When you keep from doing something is you're not doing it. I know English sometimes is a little bit crazy, but it is what it is. Let me give you another example. I want to keep mm, keep from I want to keep from playing video games. I want to keep from playing video games because I spend so much time playing video games. You see, keep from is like another phrasal verb. You don't want to do that. Maybe you are doing it, but you want to stay away from. You want to quit. You want to quit. So in this case, does that make you quit from doing things that involve luck, like buying. And be careful with the pronunciation here. Please repeat after me: lottery. Okay, one more time: lottery. Easy sounds. Those are very easy sounds, my friends. One last time: lottery. Okay, you got it. Remember, most of the time, this is not a general rule, but most of the times, that double T is gonna produce a very soft sound. Like when you say little, you have the double T there. You just say little, or in this case, lottery. You say, great. If you have questions, please make sure you write them in the chat. Okay, I would like to see you write them in the chat. I can definitely help you if you have questions regarding the text or anything that you want to ask. Here we go. Anyone who has bought a ticket for the $500 million US Powerball jackpot can only dream of having as much luck as Australian truck driver Bill Morgan. You're up, my friend. Okay, let's break down those three lines. Again, present perfect, something that is important in the past. It doesn't matter when, but it's relevant in the past. It's right here. Anyone who has bought. Very easy pronunciation, bought. That's correct. Cualquiera que haya comprado. Ticket for the 500 million, blah, 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 blah. Powerful Powerball jackpot. So this is with capital P. You see the P? The P is the big P. So the US Powerball, it's like in Colombia, what we have as baloto. Or maybe in your country, you have something similar, like the name of a lottery. In this case, the American people, they have the Powerball. So it's that. It's a you know it's a prize, and that's the name of it. That's why you have it with capital P. But the jackpot, maybe if you have played poker or blackjack, or you have gambled, you have a jackpot. You hit the jackpot when you win everything that is there. When, hey man, I hit the jackpot and I won, I'm a millionaire. So that is the expression. The jackpot is the complete prize. And you can say to hit the jackpot. You hit the jackpot. You can use this expression not only for gambling purposes when you're in a casino. Oh, you can use it in different contexts too. Like, I was at work and I hit the jackpot because my boss wasn't there today. You see, you had like great prize because your bad boss wasn't there, so you hit the jackpot, and you were able to leave early. For example, for instance. Okay, let's continue. We have text to cover. Here we go. In case you've never heard of Bill Morgan, his story actually begins with some very bad luck. First, he was almost crushed to death by a truck accident at work. Your turn, my friends. Okay, there's a lot to unpack in those three lines. So again, you have here present perfect. The action is important in the past. I don't care when that happened. And you got to use contractions. You are just like telling the story. You've never heard the past participle of to hear. And in terms of pronunciation, this is something that you need to practice and to try to start emulating. And it's to connect those words. Those words that have a very similar um, sound, like in this case, his story. You see, the S of his starts the S of story. So his story. Please try that. Let's go. His story. There you go. And don't get confused. This is the story, like the movie Toy Story. Something different is history with H. History, like when you go and study at school or high school, or there's people who go and study history at college. So that's the thing, like World War II and all of that. This is story. Remember, his story actually begins with some very bad luck. Actually, this is a very important word, my friends. Don't confuse with actually. It is not. It is not actualmente. Big mistake. If you use actually, thinking that is actualmente, you're making a big mistake, and you don't want to make those mistakes. Of course not. Actually means in reality, or in fact. Let me write it down here in the chats. Now remember, we are live in YouTube as well. In YouTube, you can see this much better. So you got those three. Actually, in fact, in reality. Those are similar. Those are very similar. They are synonyms. You can change it and the meaning will stay the same. Like his story in reality begins with some very bad luck. You see? Don't forget about that. If you want to talk about what's happening right now, you got to use currently, or just simply right now. Right now, we're talking about how to learn English out of a very specific input right now. Okay, but actually there's people who keep on trying to learn by reading long lists of words. Cling. Great example right there. Okay, let's move on. In this part, first he was almost crushed. Remember the ed pronunciation. Crushed to death. All right, please repeat after me. Death. Okay, and the death is the thing, is the noun. It's like there's people who are afraid of death. Like, oh my goodness, if I die, I am going to be very scared because I'm frightened about death. Okay, is the thing. Is the thing. Uh, Keep that in mind. Please put a pin on the pronunciation of death. Okay, let's continue. The accident did not kill him, but it did leave Bill with a heart condition. Your turn. Okay, very interesting things are happening in these two lines. The verb to kill is something that you don't have to do. You don't have. You must not kill, not even a fly. You got to be friends with everyone and with all animals, of course. This part is very interesting, but it did leave Bill. So you're using did, and is this a question? No, it is not. Is this a negative statement? No, it is not. So you can use did or do in the present for affirmative statements. Oh, yes. Yes, you can, my friends. And how do you do that? How do you do that? Basically, you do that in order to reassure, like reafirmar. When you reassure something, in this case, you say, but it did leave Bill with a heart condition. Sí dejó a Bill con una condición del corazón. Okay? You can do that in present too. Like Let's suppose that you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and your boyfriend or girlfriend tells you, "Hey, hey, you don't love me. I don't think you love me. I don't think you love me. I don't think you're the love of my life." And then you reply, "Yes, baby, I do love you. I do love you. I want to spend my life with you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." You see, I do love you. Yo sí te amo. And you can use that for the past too, like in this case. Jamerli asks, could you write that verb? Sure. Reassure. Let me write it down for you here. But remember, what's important is the pronunciation. Reassure. When you reassure something, like, yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm 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 reassuring, and it comes from assure. Like I'm assuring is like it's gonna happen. Reassuring, one of the meanings, because it has multiple meanings. Reassuring is yes, 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 it is going to happen. Good. Now you know how to use those auxiliary verbs in affirmative. You're becoming better. You are becoming a master in English. Here we go. Next part. Bill had an allergic reaction that caused a powerful heart attack, which left him clinically dead for 14 minutes. Your turn. Okay. All right. So this part, easy, 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 powerful. And remember the pronunciation of this. Repeat after me, class. Heart. One more time. Heart attack. Ah, you see how you connect the words? Once again, heart attack. Those are my students, which left him clinically. Very important. Most of the words that end with ALLY, the A is silent. You don't pronounce the A, like with basically or scientifically, or in this case, my friends, how do you pronounce this word? Yeah, clinically. Clinically dead. Oh, look at this. This may sound similar to this, but in reality, they are different. What is the pronunciation of this one, class? hmm Death. Death. You release air in the last part of the pronunciation. Death. Whereas in this one, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, this one. There is no air at the end. You just say, repeat after me, dead. Uh huh. So this one was the noun. Remember, like, I'm afraid of death. And this one is the adjective. Like, if some person is in an accident, oh my goodness, he's dead. Oh no, this is a tragedy. This is just an example, of course. So a person is dead when there's no more life. There's no more life. Okay? Very well. So now you know how to use and pronounce these two important words. Let's move on. After being revived by doctors, Morgan slipped into a coma for 12 days. Your turn. Okay. So this is another phrasal verb. When you slip into is like you have a transition. Okay? Like when I was a kid, my favorite music was I don't know, like classical music. When I was a kid, my favorite music was classical music, and then I slipped into rock and roll. You see, you had a change. You had a change, my friends. Do you have any questions so far? I wanna know if you have some questions. You can write them down in the chat. Sorry, if you have any question, please do that. Okay. Alrighty. Mm, where were we? Okay, blah 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 for 12 days. And yeah, important pronunciation, slipped. Okay, slipped into. Let's move on. During this time, his family was advised to unplug his life support system not once, but twice. Your turn. All right, all right. So, you know what is the meaning of to unplug? So, when your cell phone is running out of battery, you gotta go with your charger, and you plug it. You plug it into the electrical outlet. You plug it. And then the opposite is, like in the text, unplug. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look at this. So the doctors told the family, hey, this guy, we're done with this guy. There's no hope. We gotta, he's dead. He's dead. And not once. Remember, in English, it's not very common to say one time. I mean, you can say one time and it's fine. If you say one time, it's okay. But what's really natural, what's like uh, real English, you gotta say once. And the same happens with two times. You don't say two times. You gotta say twice. That's right. After that, you can say three times, four times, 20 times, I don't know, 100 times. But one and two, you say once or twice. Great. You are great, my friends. You're great. You got to keep on practicing like this. You got to interact with the language. You got to see some application of the language. And in that way, you will acquire the language, not just learn it. Learning is important, yeah, but what's vital, what has to be your number one objective is to acquire the language. Great. Let's move on. Bill's luck began to change when he unexpectedly woke up from the coma without any permanent damage. Go ahead. I think that part is pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward. Just remember to wake up and to get up, two different things. You wake up in the mornings, your alarm goes up, and you wake up. And you can be there. Uh, you can stay on the bed for a couple of minutes and then you get up. When you're outside of the bed, you are standing, you get up. Okay, two different things. So the luck of this guy started to change. Oh, this is starting interesting because remember, this guy, he was not lucky. But now is they're turning the tables. The thing is changing. Please repeat after me. Bill's bad luck was ending and his heartwarming story was just beginning. Go ahead. Okay. Very well. Heartwarming. Heartwarming. You can, sometimes in English, you have compound words. You have words that are the combination of two words. And the pronunciation is going to keep the same, like heart and warm. In this case, heartwarming. Heartwarming. And something that is heartwarming, this is an adjective, is something that is how can I say this? Is something that is something good, but in a specific way. Like there was something bad, and then things started to change in a good way. So that is heartwarming. Heartwarming. In Spanish is reconfortante, alentador. That is something heartwarming. So remember, you gotta. It's not just good, touching. Yes, it's not just something good. It's something good that starts happening after something bad, like Bill. All right, let's move on. After getting better, the 37-year-old Morgan found a new higher paying job and asked his longtime girlfriend Lisa Wells to marry him. Go ahead. Okay, easy, easy peasy lemon squeezy, my friends. So he asked his longtime girlfriend. That's how you say it in English. My longtime girlfriend, my longtime boyfriend. When you have a long time relationship, you gotta uh, do a combination of words. Remember, English is very practical. Sometimes it's over practical. It's they put together so much stuff, like in the case of the phrasal verbs, together, and they condense a lot of information. They don't want to be redundant. They don't want to put there too many words like we do in Spanish. So that is something from English. So he said, "Hey, Lisa, would you marry me?" And Lisa said yes. Lisa said yes. Okay, let's continue. A week later, Morgan bought a scratch off lottery ticket at his local newsstand. Go ahead, class. All right. All right. So remember the pronunciation here, bought and scratch off. Scratch. Let's understand first of all the meaning of to scratch. Um Again, let's say that you are not doing any acquisition exercise like today. Let's say that you are trying to learn the language, that you're trying to learn past perfect. And you're reading the text, you're reading the examples, you're reading the rules, and you scratch your head. You're like, what is going on? Like, what? I don't understand this. You scratch your head. Okay. Or when you have some kind of allergy, you scratch your arms. You're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Did you, when you're talking here about a scratch to scratch off, is those type of lottery tickets that they have like a covered part and you need to scratch them with a coin or with your nail. I think it's better with a coin. And you see if you want it, that is scratch off. Scratch off lottery ticket at his local newsstand. The newsstand is, of course, where you buy magazines or the newspaper. Okay. Bill scratched the ticket off and realized he had just won a brand new car. Go ahead, class. Okay. All right. When you realize, remember, is when you notice, darse cuenta. When you notice something, you realize, hey, I realize this girl is is the woman of my dreams. I'm gonna marry her. I just realized that. Okay. Or I realize my partner is cheating on me. I don't know why I'm giving those kind of examples. They're just like coming to my head. Some uncomfortable examples, but that's the way language happens. All right. So remember, I hope that you realize you want to marry your partner and not my other example. Like, I realize he or she is cheating on me. That's not good. So this guy realized he scratched off the ticket. Oh my God. I just want a car, a brand new car. So it's new. It's not a used car. Brand new is the latest of the latest. Okay, like I don't know, a brand new PlayStation 5. Like it's in the box and it's yours. All right, let's continue. A local TV news station was so amazed by Bill's story that they sent a crew to do a human interest story on Bill and his lucky streak? Go ahead, class. All right. Remember the pronunciation here. Repeat after me, please. Amazed. Okay, like amazing. Amazing is a situation that is incredible. Oh my goodness, the trip to Norway was amazing. But you are amazed. Like, I was amazed to look at the fjords, to look at the people that it was. I was amazed. I was flabbergasted. I was like, oh my God. You are amazed. The situation or the situation is amazing. So they sent a crew, like reporters, some journalists, camera people, camera crews. They sent a crew to do a human interest story. Remember the pronunciation story on Bill and his lucky streak. Repeat after me, my friends. Streak. And you may be wondering, what is a streak? What is a streak, Eric? Well, let me tell you what's a streak. The streak is like when you win and you keep on winning. You win a second time, you win a third time, you win a fourth time. In the context of this text, let's remember. So the guy, he was almost death or dead. Yeah, he was almost dead. And then he recovered. He was like, okay, I'm not dead. I'm alive. Oh, that's one win. And then he asked his longtime girlfriend, hey, would you marry me? And she said, yes. Bling, second win. And then the third win, he bought the scratch off lottery ticket and oh, I got a card. Cling, third win. So he is on a streak. Remember, that is one way of saying it. Like you're on a streak. You're on a streak. All right. Let me write it down. When you're in a streak, it's like you get win after win after win after win. All right. Or you can just talk about the streak. I don't know, like soccer. If there's any Real Madrid fan, they had a streak when they won. Was it three Champions League? I don't remember. Like three Champions Leagues, back to back. So 1 year, second year, the third year. That was their streak. Good. We're almost done, my friends. We're almost done. Here we go. The news crew thought it would be fun to recreate Bill's buying and scratching off the ticket right on camera. Your turn. hmm Be careful with the pronunciation here. Repeat after me, class. Thought. Okay. Just like the end with death, you got to release air. You do the same here. Thought, but at the beginning. Thought. And is the past of think. Yes. So they were going, okay, you know what? Let's recreate that. Let's recreate what you buying and scratching off the ticket while they were filming on camera live. Here we go. No one could have predicted what happened next. The ticket Bill bought for the reenactment ended up being a $250,000 winner. Go ahead. Okay, there are some questions. Uh, yes, Jamerli, you can say a bad streak. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can say, you know what, I'm on a bad streak right here. I need to change some habits so I can turn it around and turn it into a good streak. That's right. Good question. All right. I was being very positive, yeah, but you can definitely have a bad streak. In this part, so no one could have predicted what happened next. Again, bought, and this is the reenactment. So when you reenact something, is like when something that happened, you simulate that. Okay. If you have been to the United States, there's people who like to reenact the Civil War. So that you got the Confederates and the other guys, and they're not really like in a fight. They're not in a real war. They're just reenacting. And okay, the general is there, and they're the army of the Confederate states, and they're just like firing not real bullets, and they are reenacting the Civil War. So it's like to simulate something that happened. Mm, okay, and this one ended up. So this is a very interesting phrasal verb. When you end up, when you end up with something, you're saying that the situation had a result. There's a situation, an ongoing process, and then you have a result. Okay, like today, maybe one of you or many of you joined this lesson like, hey, this is another English class, another boring English class with a boring teacher. But you ended up learning vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and how to acquire English. You see, there is a process and there is an outcome, there is a result. Let's finish, my friends. Let's finish this off. And the best part is, it all happened on live TV, almost causing another heart attack. Please finish the text. All right. One more time. The ED pronunciation happened. And this is live, like the Instagram live, like the YouTube live. It's the adjective, live TV, live TV. Don't confuse it with the verb that has the same spelling, but a different pronunciation. Now, your homework. You got some homework to do, of course, because it's not just to be here and to hear me and repeat the sentences. No, there is more to that. It is your autonomous practice, it is your own practice that makes a real difference, my friends. And you gotta read this text again. You gotta read it out loud. Lo tienen que volver a leer en voz alta. You gotta practice with the new words. Make sentences with the new words. All right. Hagan frases con las nuevas palabras. That's a very good and useful way of remembering the words. Use them when you're talking. Like, okay, I think, like, hey, honey, I think the hamster is dead. You see? Don't make the mistake. Something that you don't have to say. I think the hamster is dead. I think the hamster is dead. Cling. There you go, my friends. There you go. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find all the lessons there. We have 3 lessons so far. Next week, we're going to have another lesson for each one of you, my friends. And if you think this content can work for someone else, please share it. Share it. It's free. It's free. So share it. La próxima semana vamos a tener otra clase. Ya saben, se pueden suscribir a mi canal de YouTube. Ahí vamos a tener clases todas las semanas. Si creen que a alguien le pueda servir este contenido, compártanselo. Ya tenemos 3 clases. Next week we're going to have a 4th class and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going, my friends. I hope all of you have a great night. It's a pleasure to practice with you. Over here, I gotta say bye-bye, take care, sayonara if you're in Japan, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.